This is again the Sharpe's index model based on optimum selection of portfolio. So here the problem goes like this. Mr. Dinesh is constructing a optimum portfolio. The market return forecast says that it could be 13.5%. So market return given as RM 13.5%. For the next 2 years is the expected profit for the return with the variance of 10%. So market variance, that is a standard deviation square of M, 10%. Next line, the risk-free rate is 5%, that is RF is 5% given. So these three are given in the problem. The following securities are under review. Find out the optimum portfolio. Though they may not mention which method to follow, you have to search for the word. The word here most important is optimum portfolio. Optimum is the most important one. When optimum comes, we have to adopt this Sharpe's optimum index model. There we have to work out. The problem goes like this. 5 company stocks are given, alpha is given, beta is given, unsystematic risk is given. We call it as also residual variance. But to work further, we don't have the expected return, that is RI is not given. So this is the most important. You have to analyze here. Alpha is given, RI is not given. So in the previous problem, RI was given, very easy to work to find the excess returns. So excess return is easy to find, but here RI is not given. First we have to use the Sharpe model for finding the RI. Then we have to go for excess return and rank the securities based on expected returns. So we have to go for substitution here. For the A, I will take up alpha 3.72, beta 0.99 into RM 13.5. So if I simplify 0.99 into 13.5, I get 13.365. So after getting this, we have to add and find the value. The final answer 17.085 is the return on company A share or the stock. Next for B, alpha is 0.60, beta is 1.27 and RM remains same at 13.5. So I have to multiply 1.27 into 13.5, that is going to be 17.145. So we have to add 0.60 plus 17.145, that gives 17.745. Next for C, alpha for C 0.41 plus beta for C 1.96, RM remains the same. So 1.96 into 13.5, that comes to 12.96. So we have to add these two values. We'll get 13.37 for C. Alright. Then for D, so 0.96 into 13.5 is 12.96. We add that value to 0.41, we get 13.37. Next for D, alpha is 0.22 in minus value, beta is 1.21 into 13.5. So minus value is here, we have to be careful. One is in plus value, one is in minus value. 16.335. So plus 16.335 minus 0.22. Plus value is more, so we'll go for plus. 16.115 is the final answer. So we have to minus from the 16.335, 0.22, we get the answer 16.115. Next one is E. Alpha for E is 0.45, beta is 0.75 into 13.5, 0.75 into 13.5, 10.125. The answer is final 10.576. So this is finding out the expected return which is not given in the problem. After having this, we have to go for excess returns calculation for beta with beta, then only we can go for ranking. So let me find out the excess returns now. RI 17.085 minus RF, that is the minimum rate of return, that is 5. Beta for the first one A 0.99. So 17.085 minus 5 divided by 0.99, 12.207. Next 17.745 minus 5, beta is 1.27. So the excess return 10.035. Next one 13.37 minus 5, beta value 0.96. 8.718. Next 16.115 minus 5, beta value is 1.21. 9.186, and for the last one 10.576. This RI will be the first one, RF is from the given, beta is from the table. The substitution, we have to be careful, otherwise the entire problem may go wrong for you. It is very important for you to check carefully. After finding the excess returns, we have to go for which is the security, which company security is having the highest value. If you see here, out of all this, 12 point is the first one. Next is 10 point, that is 2. D becomes 3, C becomes 4, and E remains at 5th ranking. So 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. One reverse is that. So D becomes 3rd one, C becomes 4th one, and E remains at 5th one. So this is the ranking. Now onwards we have to work further, which is the best one. For that we will go for one more table. The next step after finding the ranking, we have to go for the cutoff point. So here you can see the ranking, what we have done in the previous calculation. A is the first ranking, B is the second one, D is the third one, C is the fourth one, and E is the last one, that is 5. So to go for cutoff point formula, so I have divided that into 2 parts. I will explain that further. I will explain the cutoff point, this one further. So here you have a big formula for calculation of cutoff point. So I have divided that into shorter version so that it becomes easy for students to work. So here summation Ri minus Rf divided by unsystematic into BI, we have to find that. I have to come here for calculation. Then here also you have in the numerator summation B square divided by unsystematic. So that is going to be done here. So I will calculate here, then substitute for cutoff point further. So let me go for the working here. Ri minus Rf. Ri we have calculated earlier. So now I'll go for the first column here, Ri minus Rf divided by unsystematic into beta of individual stocks. I'll go for one by one. First is A. Ra is 17.085 minus Rf. Rf is given in the problem. 5 remains common for all. Divided by unsystematic 9.35. Into beta of the individual stock. You have to check, it has to be in the order. So if you do simplification, this 17.085 minus 5 divided by 9.35, you get a value. Then we have to multiply with 0.99. So 1.28. Next for B, 17.745 minus 5 divided by unsystematic 5.92 into beta 1.27. We are going to get here 2.734 for B. Then D, we have to be careful while substituting. Here it is C, D, E. When you are doing D, we have to see only the D column. D row rather. 16.115 is Ri. Rf is 5. 5.39. 5.39 is the unsystematic and beta is 1.21. So for D value you are going to get 2.495. Next for C, 13.37 minus 5 divided by 9.79 unsystematic into 0.96, that is beta, 0.820. Then for E, 10.576 minus 5 divided by 4.32 unsystematic into 0.75. That will give us 0.969. So while substituting we have to be very careful and we have to work. So this is 4.32 for the E unsystematic. I substituted, I got the value. Now we have to go for summation. That is nothing but cumulative frequency kind of a thing. So 1.28 as it is. So 1.28, we have to add this and take it here. 1.28 plus 2.734. So here we are going to get 4.02. Add like that only further 6.52, 7.34, 8.31. Small variations may come when we have done the decimals therein. So let us go for this. Then we have to go for the fourth column, beta square divided by unsystematic. We have to find for each one of it carefully. Beta square is 0.99 square divided by unsystematic 9.35. So we have to calculate the values therein. We are going to get there 0.105 answer. Like that we have to go for substituting carefully for every security. Beta square 1.27 square divided by unsystematic 5.92. We are going to get here 0.276. So like that we have to find for all the securities one by one. The values or the answers we are going to get here 0.271 for D, 0.094 for C, 0.13 for E, the last one. So we have to substitute and find the values. Again we have to go for the cumulative. You can see the symbol here, summation. So like cumulative frequency we have to do. That is going to be done for this column also. 0.105 plus 0.276, 0.377. Similarly 0.377 add further the value 0.271, 0.648, next 0.742, 0.872. So these are the values required for substitution for cutoff point. So CI is nothing but cutoff point. So I will work the calculations here, then I will substitute here for CI to find out till where the investor is supposed to invest. Out of 5, it may stop at 2, 3, 4 or 5 also. We have to check that. When nothing is given, we have to assume it as no short sales. So let me substitute here for the values. Variance, first one, 10 into the value what we have got summation here, 1.28 divided by 1 plus 10, then summation of the fourth column 0.105. So we have to substitute very carefully and multiply 10 into 1.28 divided by first 10 into this value, then add 1 to that. That is how we have to do. Otherwise our answers will go wrong. We have to be very careful. Next for B, 10 plus 4.02, then 0.377, again same thing, 10 into 4.02 divided by 10 into, we have to do 0.377, for that we have to add 1, that is how we have to calculate 8.426. Next is D, Substitute carefully again. 6.52. Next 0.648. So for D we are going to get 8.716. Next for C 7.34. Then 0.742. We get here 8.706. And the last one 8.31 and 0.872. We get here 8.549 or 8.55 we can take here. So these values I'll substitute here, or we can keep like that only. That is also there. So we have to work cutoff rates separately. It is going to be easy to go ahead further. So after writing the cutoff rates, we have to go for looking at it where the highest one is there. So there we are going to have the ending of it. I have done the cutoff point. The cutoff point, the C calculation is going to be 8.717 instead of 706. So I am changing it to 717. So small variations will be happening throughout the problem, because when you are doing the calculation, the decimal points will give you different version. So maybe each other's value may differ a little bit. So whatever accuracy you are going for, go in the same order. It is going to give the answer for you. Otherwise, decimals are not there means it is easy for you to get the correct answer. Because decimals are there, small variations are always possible. So don't worry about it. You worry about the method of working the problem. After doing the cutoff point, we have to see the highest value in the cutoff point. 6.2, 8.4, 8.7, 8.717. Here also 8.716. A small variation is there. So highest value we have to take 8.55 is the last one. So in a way, highest value is going to be the C star, that is the cutoff point. So cutoff point is at C. So E we are going to ignore. So when you go for optimal portfolio consists of securities A, B, D and C. A, B, D and C. So I will go for now the calculation of proportions. So this is about calculation of proportions for each of the securities. What should be the proportion? The formula I have given here. I'll go for ZA first. Beta value is 0.99 and unsystematically 9.35. This calculation excess return we have done in the first table. That is, when ranking we have done this. So 12.207 and minus the C star. Here we can go for the C star. The C star is 8.717. So when you simplify, you are going to get 0.37. Next for ZB, beta is 1.27 divided by 5.92. Excess return, what we have calculated earlier, 10.035 minus 8.717. So simplify further. For B we are getting 0.0 1.276. Next for ZD, the third one. For D, 1.21 beta, 5.39 is unsystematic. 9.185 is the excess returns. 8.717, 0.224 into 0.468. So 9.185 minus 8.717, like that we have to do. Next for ZC, 0.96 divided by 9.79. Excess return 8.718 minus 8.717. A small difference, you have to be very careful. Here also it is very negligible value you are getting here, 0.0098, or you can ignore only almost, but we have done the calculation, we go for it. So we have to add all these four values. If you add all these four values, you are going to get 0.75 is the total. This is used for finding xi further. So here 0.37, 0.276, 0.104, 0.00098. We are not going to calculate for E. Now we have to go for the final one, xi, how much percentage to be invested. The last one is the xi calculation. So this is for xi calculation. So calculation of relative investment in each security, percentage wise, how much percentage of money to be invested in each one of the security we have to check here. I will go for each one of it. First I will go for XA, 0.37 divided by 0.75 into 100, 49.33. So here 49.33 percentage. Next is XB. The total we have to take 0.276. So 0.276 divided by the total into 100, 36.8. Next for XD, 0.104 divided by 0.75 into 100. You are going to get 13.866 percentage. And the last one, very minimal, because you have it in a lot of decimals therein. So 0.013. If you add all this, it has to be almost equal to 100. A small point variation may come. For that you should not much bother. The total of this should be almost near to 100. That gives the correct answer for you. That means you are done rightly there. Optimal portfolio for a particular investor is ABDC. So we can say conclusion. Optimal portfolio for investment will be A, B, D and C securities. And this is the percentage of investment in A, B, D, C securities.